Design Council of India and a postgrad from Ahmedabad. So anybody Ahmedabad, it's absolutely professional. And he's a seasonal professional with over 30 years of experience in retail, in fashion, and publishing industries. He's also authored a book, and he's our very favorite, or we all envy him for his love of keeping himself fit. So he started at a very good age, I will say. He started running marathons. Now he's in for triathlons. So yeah, we can barely walk from one end to the other, and he's going places. So that's Mr. Call for you guys. Okay, so the topic today that we will talk about is what will it mean to be a designer in the next decade? So Pratima is going to take you through certain pointers, and those pointers are what is the role of the digital world, because everything is going to go online, so she'll probably be talking more elaborately on that. Then what kind of industry collaborations required? She'll be talking a little about sustainability, rethinking of design and fashion, and of course, what will be the role of the next generation designers? So are we just going to be sitting and designing, or do we have more to do with everything else? So I will stop slide share right now, and I will ask Pratima. Pratima, can we have you take the mic?
Am I clear now? Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Cool. First of all, welcome, and thank you for inviting me for this wonderful session. I'm delighted to share my views, and thank you, Mr. Call, for reaching out and wanting to hear what I have to say about what's going to be in the future installed. Of course, it's very interesting. We can't really say what's installed for us, but I will share my experience and what I feel about the future of fashion. There are a lot of things that need to be understood. I can talk from my point of view, especially I have a brand called Pratima, and how I started off almost a decade ago. And it was emotional. First of all, I really work a lot around sustainability, and so I'm not going there too much, but yeah, what is the point that I want to make for now is, sitting here, especially in a lockdown, this is new times, new normal, and you really don't know what's going on and what's going to be in the future. And here we are sitting in a webinar, talking to each other, and in a new digital world. Trust me, I am one of the designers who are not really savvy with everything, but within a month I've learned all this, so that's the speed that we're going to live in now. And I think the digital world will take over in a massive way, especially, when it comes to design. I do a lot of phases. I think when it comes to design, the first phase I work around is, we conceptualize, we get inspired from what's going around us. And, especially my inspiration is especially from what I'm experiencing, digital exposure is a complete bombardment of information that's come to us. So I see a lot of information. So we're going to have a lot of access to a lot of things. So thus the inspiration will go, to different levels. What I would say is, like, what I like with what's available is what I'm going to take on. And that's, we have, I don't know, there's so many websites, there's so much going on out there, and there's so many, and everything is in digital. Trust me, I'm not looking at books, I'm looking at going on Google. So that's for one. I think when it comes to doing my illustrations. I think the next would be to work on, I love the classic way of doing it on, with pen and paper. Uh, but I think the illustrator would be the next thing that I'm going to work on. Why? Because first of all, it's quick, it's fast, and of course, what is it that I want to do with it, so that's one. And then moving on to, when we have illustrated, then we move on to cutting and pattern making and the specs and everything. So that is also going to go digital. But having said that, that's so much. Even marketing, for me, marketing, digital will become the biggest tool for me. I've started working really strongly with Instagram, and with so many other tools which my marketing team is telling me that we're going to work on. So why am I going everywhere? Is because this is going to be the next big thing. It's less now. Trust me, 10 years from now, I think it's going to be completely, I think what we are thinking right now, it's not going to be the same anymore. It's going to be further deep into it. It's just that how we maneuver with the information that's been bombarded to us, how we channelize the information, and how we're going to use it as a tool which is going to help us instead of confusing us. So digital for me is, I think, the next big thing. And I think it cannot be undermined that it will take us to a whole new level. But how are we still sensitive to a lot of things? Because I work with weavers, it's the oldest form of sort of, and the slowest form. And how can we reach out to I think we're going to tell stories through a new world, which is digital. So yeah, that's going to be one. The next, I'm just going to quickly go through all the points and then come back to, a holistic view of what I want to say. So the digital is one. The next is collaborations, because it's not going to be the same as I, me, myself, my brand, and fashion and clothing, and and first of all, what is it that we are doing? So this is the point of time where I'm going to look for the right collaborations, like we make bags, what we package in, and it's made by an NGO. So I feel the need to extend, the fact that I'm going to bring in more people who are doing something already useful. So a collaboration like that was, for me, I think, very fruitful, or very good. It's a win-win for both. And I think any collaboration where win-win is not happening, it's not happening, So basically what I do in this process is give them all my katrans, or the waste fabric, give it to them. They make bags for me, and then I buy the bags back from them. So in the process, they're doing something, they get money out of it, and I get my work done. And I think collaborations like this will be the next big thing. Of course, this is a very small example, but working in tandem with each other and helping each other out should be the new sort of mindset that we have to adopt. So collaborations, it's just very small that I'm talking. I think it can really shape up to be really, really amazing. Of course, collaborations for marketing in every field. You can choose a collaboration for marketing, collaborating with a celebrity. It's a win-win for both. Collaboration with a lot of things. So yeah, the collaborations would be another necessity. And I think we're not going to grow as individuals anymore. I think we need to grow as groups, as sort of a vision. Of course, coming to the vision, I also feel that I think we're going to have a vision for the whole planet, then vision for a country, and then vision for a company. So every vision, and then we need to figure out, are we in sync with all three of them? So, and then is when I would choose my collaborations. So it's a bigger view that we need to adopt to look at things. It's not going to be the same anymore. Okay, going on to the next point of sustainability. I think I've always believed that sustainability for every individual would be very different, but for me, it's sustaining a practice. Like Prama as a brand has always been, 8 years ago I came across a textile called Chanderi, and I've stuck to one textile. I think the idea was not doing one collection and giving them work and moving on. It's not about that. And consistently sticking and innovating and re-evolving and working them with them, so that there is this work for the weavers. There's constant sort of you're looking at new ideas. Even you're educating the weaver is educating you. So in the process, there's a sort of a sustainable practice that you're adopting. A sustainable practice also would involve a lot of other aspects. How many people are involved in making your product also. I think, and of course, it has to be continuous. And of course, for me, sustainability also has a lot to do with, slowing things down. It cannot be a fast fashion. It has to be slow at its own pace, in its own comfort zone, and also, touching the right notes. Of course, when you start looking at things that, as an Indian, I think we have a responsibility, because we have a lot of rich culture backing us, and we cannot have what the West is telling us to do. Of course, we need to be in a world, and you need to have a unanimous language. So thus we need to know what they are doing, but this doesn't mean that we just start adopting what they are. When the West starts talking about sustainability, we don't have to adopt it. So reusing, recycling, sustainable, all this was already there. It's just that I think we got somewhere lost in the middle. But now it is not that only one sort of company has to do it. I think everyone has to adopt sustainability in their own way. And I've always been doing this, but it's just that it's going to be the next big language of, I think, humanity per se. Of course, when you're looking at a lockdown, and then you're going through a lot of turmoil, and then again, this whole sort of thought process, it's forcing you to look at things which have a bigger purpose, has a bigger responsibility. You have to be not, of course, we are looking for finances to earn better, make better lives, all that. But in the whole thing of, you cannot be lost. I just feel that that's my next point of rethinking design. And fashion, fashion, of course, cannot be what we know of fashion. And then we were fastly moving towards fast fashion, brands which are pushing you to buy even if you don't need it. Of course, like I generally stick to classic designs. Why? Because of the fact that the fabric is so rich. I cannot afford to take away the richness by giving it a complicated design. So I need to keep it simple. And design, most of the people forget the word design itself means that we have to solve a problem, and fashion is pushing you to find your individual self. When you know both the points, you really understand, oh God, we're just missing the point in the middle. We need to figure out what fashion means to us. Of course, there are a lot of parallels to it. But the fact of the matter is, rethinking its need, rethinking design, how we need it, uh, you know, uh, how much we need it, and how far we can take it. Of course, um, there's this zero waste fashion was there. It's Japanese. There are a lot of these things, but I think now I don't think so that anymore applies to us. We need to really rethink, and in the future, it's what we see now is not going to be there. I think it's going to be completely different. It's completely different. Either we're going to go completely handloom, or we're going to be completely digital, or we might have clothes which need not uh, require washing, or I don't know. So there are a lot of things that will happen, and there are going to be a lot of what's, why do we need it, So that's another thing is fashion and beyond. Why are we looking at beyond fashion? Because off late yesterday, in fact, I was talking to a lot of other designers, and we were brainstorming as to um, a couple of designers also said, do we really need to stick to design and designing clothes only? We didn't Could we go beyond? Could we just give our design input on completely different sort of areas? Because of course we need to sustain ourselves, but the fact of the matter is, it's not going to be only fashion helping us do that. It's going to be sort of different areas where we're going to look at and go beyond, and just sort of contribute a creative sort of learning in different areas. And we have to go beyond, because there's always a sort of end point to anything that you do. So how much, I was just going through a lot of these informations that's coming around, and we know it's, knowingly we are still doing it. It's the highest, I think second highest wastage in the world is through fashion. And there's another very beautiful research being done where they're talking about I think 150 billion garments are made every year, something like that. And I was like, it's crazy. And he says nobody needs those kind of garments, so where are we going to lead? So we are pushing, and all the experts have been talking about, we are going to take fashion. India is, I think we are roughly around 16 billion in terms of remuneration every year. So they're like, no, we have to push it for, after lockdown in 2022, it should be 20 billion and all that. But okay, but 20 billion means X number of clothing that does lead to something. So, as a designer, it's not about just living in your cocoon and being okay with it. I'm doing my clothes, and it's no more that. I think it's a far more bigger picture that we need to look at and redefine everything that we know of. I think it's a complete new start. And if lockdown opens 1 month from now, it's going to be a different scenario. 2 months from now, again different scenario, and 3 months from now, again different scenario. And even if it opens, it's not going to be the same. So, and this sort of impact is going to be impact for a longer time. And I think also, I'm just going to add another point, is knowledge. Knowledge, first of all, as a designer, you need to know the rules. And when you know the rules is when you can break it. I think this is a very common, well said thing. But the fact of the matter is, knowing what you're doing, having the knowledge to back you. And of course, you have to know that what are you contributing to the industry? These are questions that nobody asks. What is it that you're offering to the industry? What was the missing link? And whereas you as a designer has come in and contributed. So, future would be a lot to do with monopoly, and a lot to do with the fact that you are a key contributor and make a lot of sense being around. So you cannot be just there, be there and making your bit. No, you have to know what you're doing. You need to make it very, very clear as to what your contribution would be like. There has to be a clear vision. You cannot be coming here with no vision and just, saying that I want to be a designer. No more you are a designer. You have to be a responsible one and contributing it in a fact of, that it's important. Your contribution makes a difference. So yeah, I think I would just like to sum it up with the fact that it's great to be a designer, but times have changed. So new perspective have to be adopted. And that's going to be here to stay. So yeah, I think, Mr. Kaul, I would like if you want to share your views on this, and we can open for questions if one likes. I can't hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm just getting into the new digital.
Okay.
And just realizing probably tomorrow it'll be second action, my finger unmuting and muting and all that. But I'm still going through the throes very much like you. And I think it has shaken many of us, and not only older people like me, but also I think a lot of younger people, because we keep saying that change is going to happen faster and faster. And we are actually seeing that now. And I very much agree with you that whenever the lockdown comes off, whether it's 1 month or 2 months or 4 months or 5 months, it will never be the same again. We will never be going back home, as they say. We'll be going to a brave new world. And what that world is really what frightens us. And perhaps, the point, again, so taking off from that the changes will be much more substantive than just being, we have seen in the past computers and digitalization as an aid, as a tool. But I think it has become more than that. It will continue being more of a tool as an aid, starting from, of course, computer-aided design, which is an old thing now. And perhaps, as you said, that all the new skills where you design online and so forth. But it is also becoming the new marketplace.
Okay? Oh, yes, that's what marketing is key.
Yeah, it's even going beyond the marketplace. Let me put it this way. So first is the tool or the skills. The second stage is the marketplace, where you market your goods online or on your sites, and people look at it and they do all sorts of great things and all that. But the third step, which is already started happening, is this is the place where you live also. People are, in my classes, I ask people, how much time do you spend? And it's not unusual to have 6, 7, 8 hours on these things. A minimum of about 4 hours, and I'm not exaggerating, and even 7, 8 hours. So today, even what is happening from what I hear is that, and with the lockdown thrown in, if you throw that in, so in the old, perhaps just a year back, if you bought something, you wore it and you went to Cyber Hub and displayed your new clothes. You walked up and down, or you went to a party. But today, you don't go to a party. At least you'll go to a rare party once in a month, perhaps. I know people who have parties online. If you go to, what is that, house? There is this website where you can talk to your friends, and I've been doing that. There are three or four on Zoom or on House Party. There's a thing called House Party, which is very popular with kids, where 5, 6 of them meet, because earlier they met, now they cannot meet. So they have a house party with 6 people, and they keep it on for about 1 hour, and they're doing the same antics. They're joking and this all that. And I've had people who are taking a mug of beer each, electronically. And today I see that happening in fashion, believe it or not, because when you wear clothes, where do you see it? You see it on Instagram. I've started doing it. When I run, I do something, I take pictures and I put it up on Instagram. I put it on Facebook. I do it the thing. I'm not saying that if I get a new clothes, I'm not going. It won't be for the party. It will be for the Instagram. So I think we are not very far off, where we are living in this world itself. So having said that, I don't know if you agree or not, and I think this is happening. This has got accelerated now. I think it'll happen within a year. It's already happening, but it'll become a major thing within a year. Because even after this, with the lockdown out, you still have to keep social distancing. Okay, my question to you, and I'd like to put your thinking cap on. There is a new class of clothes, which will probably become the biggest classification, which is WFH clothes or WFH collection. It's no longer a party collection. It's no longer work clothes where the older system is you go from 9 to 5, you work clothes, you come home, you wear into casuals, then you go to a party, which is a different dressy clothes. Perhaps you come back and it's sleepwear. But today it's all work from home. I'm talking to you now. Perhaps half an hour later, I'll go down and fetch milk from the local store. And then I have another webinar at 9 o'clock, perhaps at night. And I'll give you my idea of what WFH clothes is, that I have a shirt, perhaps even a clip-on tie, and underneath I'm wearing either underwears or shorts.
Yeah, that's true. I was just mentioning that to my dad. That's going to be the next norm, because you need to be far more comfortable,
So comfort would be one of the properties for a work from home clothes. What else? What do you envisage as a collection? You envisage this as a major...
No, I think the language will change. We can't say collection. I think it's going to be color will come in, very important, because what are you wearing? We are sharing on the web. So if I'm wearing a red, what it means, if I'm wearing a blue, what it means, and all that. And of course, comfortable. It has to look good within that little, I think the necklines will become important. But
right.
I'm just saying what I think of. But at the moment, I feel it has to be something even more comfortable, more breathable.
Which is where your sustainable clothes come in, perhaps, where they're more breathable and more comfortable.
Absolutely. And of course, when I know that I'm wearing a ikat, so I know that the weaver has been taken care of. I'm wearing what I have to wear, and it's highly comfortable and it's breathable. So I think that's going to be the next big thing. What you're saying, I see a huge market, but I think, the problem is it cannot be huge. We have to take our minds away from clothing. And I think with this new world, it is going to happen. It's going to slow down. I need 4 t-shirts, maybe. I need 4 pajamas, maybe. And I'm okay with it, and you would never know I'm wearing just, something really whatever. And I can just change my necklines and have a beautiful neck piece, maybe. Accessories might become more important, but only neck. But it's not going to be that. I think we cannot give so much importance to clothes. After a point, it's not going to be that. It's about what you think, what you know, your knowledge, because I'm just talking to you, and I think for me, your input in terms of what you want to say is more important than what you're wearing. I as a designer, I think I'm the most uncomfortable person when I'm saying this, because I feel for me that's my bread and butter. But I see that happening, and thus where I'm saying is fashion cannot be just this. It has to go beyond. The design part has to come in, and we need to solve different sort of. I don't know. We have to look for a different world. And
I would like to take you on your point of going beyond, and I very much agree with that. As you said, you were discussing with someone where the fashion designers need to go beyond clothes and design something else. And I'll say yes, and I'll tell you why. I have a very good reason. Now, if I look at everyone's picture here, behind me, you see these windows. They're at an odd angle. I see another person in his bed and someone else somewhere else. But today, you've heard of the green screen? You can have a green screen behind. You can have the Niagara Falls behind you.
Yes.
You can have an animated picture. World. So I think, and it's going to happen very fast.
Yeah.
So I think you as a designer will have to think not, you're right, the clothes may not be the biggest thing that you design. It may be the background that you design, which goes with that clothes, which sort of fits in terms of the color scheme, in terms of the dynamics and so forth, and perhaps the painting which hangs, which is also virtual. So you'll be designing a virtual
You never
world.
really have a virtual outfits. You can have just your face cropped in and
you can be naked.
and you can be naked, but you have a new outfit.
You have a new outfit,
yeah. On the screen, you can just go and choose your outfit.
You can choose your outfit from the screen. And I think this is not going to happen in 10 years. I think it'll happen in the next 10 months, 6 months. Yeah. So you'll be designing on the screen. So do you think it's exciting, or do you think it belittles designers, or do you think it's really a new world?
Very exciting for me, because I'm one of those conscious designers. I feel so long as there are no footprints, I'm cool with that. This will not lead to any footprints so it's virtual, it's made virtually, it's for the virtual world. So it's nothing that you get out of it. It's nothing that is, it's not going to affect anybody. So I think it's a great idea. It keeps your spirits high. And I think it's still very exciting. You can have amazing neckline. You can have, amazing jewelry added to your face. I think it's...
you can even change the shape of your nose or something like that.
I think let's keep it.
Okay, let's keep it to that. Okay, I'm getting too far out. But yes, I think you'll be looking at designing your space around you.
There are a lot of webinars going on.
Can I offer you some tea?
I have mine.
Okay.
Thank you. No, because what I feel is the new business would be like me designing for webinars and telling each individual what is the color combination you should be wearing, what is it on the background that you should be having, and how to look far more sort of serious about what you're wanting to say. I think backgrounds would make a lot of difference, because now we are just sitting in our homes, wherever it is, it's your private spaces, you don't want it to be seen. So,
so a designer becomes more of a fashion advisor, perhaps, or a fashion director.
The fashion director, directing what needs to be done, sort of a stylist coming in.
Or perhaps styling is a better word. Designer becomes a stylist, basically.
Yeah. So, here you have a job.
So we will probably have to all relearn.
Yes.
The second thing, a change which I can see could be happening, which may be even more powerful and perhaps change the fashion industry, is they say all this digitalization is making things democratic, where you don't have to be the biggest guy on the block, you don't have to be Hindustan Unilever to
work, and they want to
it's
a a lot of time it's their dream. They see a lot of flash, and they see a lot of glamour, and they see everything, and they need
let me de-glamorize it for them.
I do that all the time. What I need you to just talk to us and tell us, what is a role going to be for a typical designer, a startup, or somebody working with a designer as in the industry. So what all is it that they will actually be doing? Because they all come back and say, okay, hum designing seekhenge, we will become an assistant designer to a big name, and then that's it, and then we will start our own labels, and then we are going to be that flashy again. So let's just tell them what is it that they need to
reality.
I know, but yes, that's how.
No, I don't think so. The world needs designers anymore.
Really?
I think, no, I knowing I have the younger designer, I talk to them. I have been talking to all the senior designers per se. They had their time. The senior designers were the designers who really made the most of the time that they were in. And I think we, as a designer who's just opened a while ago, and now we have come so far, it's just that we're as an individual, I am responsible for many lives. So thus I have to sort of rethink my whole strategy, my planning, everything. I think we are going to change the way fashion is, things are, and how fashion is seen. So we're going to redefine. I think they will enter the world with a already redefined version. So you don't know what is going to happen, but yes, a year from now, I don't think so the language will be the same. There are no shows. All the shows are cancelled. They have to know. All the Neiman Marcus and all the big brands are shutting down. So a lot of jobs will be lost. And of course, slow fashion is the key now. So they're going to be lesser buying. like Mr. Call also was discussing the fact that, you're going to be spending hours in front of the screen, and practically really you need one outfit. And for maybe a week, nobody would get to know that you just have one outfit, So the point is that I think we need to look at different problems, address different problems with different solutions, and like I said, look for the gap, what's missing, what already the market has. It's overdone, it's over. I think we are over everything. You name a collection, you name a we've made it again, we made it again and again. You name the cuts, you name anything in terms of design, fashion per se, it's done.
But so also, I think because what I understand, because I've been teaching for so long, and what I understand is people shy away from creating new things.
No, I don't think so. I think
these kids are so
I think that's wrong to think like that, because the fact that we don't shy away.
No, not you. I'm saying the students, the kids who are learning, they kind of just cut, copy, paste, and they want to give that design. They do not experiment. Maybe when you were learning, you were more experimental with your silhouettes and your cuts and everything.
And that's why we started with you. Like,
correct.
The fact is, I have a monopoly in terms of certain design is where, because I refuse to copy.
Correct. So, but the new age students, the students who are learning to be designers, are not doing that. So maybe that's one thing
to say. It's not going to work anymore. Copying business is not going to work.
It isn't. It isn't.
Now,
definitely.
When you're spending so much time online, you know what's good, what's bad, what's available. The designers will come down with the prices, so it's becoming more accessible. So you're going to have more, like, if I have to spend a little extra and get the right product, why not? And I know it's from the right practices. So I'd rather buy one outfit which is with the right practices than buying 10, 20. And frankly, we know we don't need it. So I think the time.
So also probably, sure. So I think also is the mindset of the consumers will also change.
Oh, yes.
What you're saying.
I'm glad.
Based on that. Yeah. I'm glad too, because if it's handwoven, there's nothing better than that. Trust me. I'm like one person who would give anything for that.
As a designer, the challenge is that if everybody is wearing a handwoven, we are sustaining the,
correct.
Correct. If you're not, it's going to lose out. We're going to lose out in a beautiful culture, in a beautiful tradition of weaving. So that's the harsh reality. I'm sorry, but I had to.
No, but that's important. See, this is why we want you to talk to the kids as well, and we do that all the time in the class.
But I think they're going to be like, I had no idea the highest paid job right now is an app designer. You know that?
Yes, of course.
App designers get billions of dollars, and it's a huge booming industry. And I had.
We lost you.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, Mr. Cole.
I'm back. I'm sorry, the power went. I think India is still a long way to go before they get into the digital world.
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to
we just lost on Pratima. She was talking and we...
I can see. Okay.
She's still though.
What I was trying to do is another scenario. What is happening in the digital world is democratization. So everyone can become a singer because you can go to YouTube and broadcast yourself. Everyone can become a writer because you can self-publish, and you can sort of publish yourself on Amazon and other things. And people are very successfully doing that. There are people who sing, who have regular things, and so forth. I see one of the things that will happen is that everyone can design a garment for themselves. And this, of course, not that they are brilliant designers, but they will have a digital world which will use artificial intelligence, if I can stretch my imagination, which will help you design your clothes. And of course, if you're better off, you will get a designer who will guide your designs. and sort of develop your options, but you can really make your designs yourself, and you can make your one-of-a-kind garment. As we, real fashion garment. Fashion garments are of limited quantities anyway, so you can design your own garments basically, and it'll happen all online. What do you think of this? Or is it too far stretched?
Pratima, you are on mute.
Okay, she's back. Okay, I'll probably have to repeat this, huh?
Yes, she's back, but she's on mute, and I don't think
Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, you went through the same
great idea.
thing I did.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
What about?
The fact that we're going to have designing for yourself, I think it's a very good idea. And the designer just guiding you what to do.
So designer becomes more like an orchestra leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a lot of people playing their own tunes, and they
have their own
still
private...
will have a role, because obviously their aesthetics
you still have a role,
more developed and all that.
So you become your private consultant, fashion consultant. Let's call them fashion consultants.
Yes. And it's anyways very big. Fashion consultation is really big nowadays. So people need advisors. They need to be guided. So yeah, it's going to be big. I think it's a very good idea also, and it's really in the near future. All this will start happening, which you've never thought of.
Correct. Also, what you just said, that people will need to be told what's in, what's not, what silhouettes are in, what colors are in.
Something is becoming very passé. Nobody wants to hear. In fact, we don't want to hear what's in. And why?
We've never really followed like an international forecast anyways as Indians. We've never done that. Yeah,
I don't think so.
Because we don't wear clothes accordingly.
I think you'll get software with artificial intelligence. You can get on the line and you say, okay, I want to make a shirt. And they ask, they can scan what you are and say, this is your profile. And they will give you some options, and you do, and you start doing it, and you start putting it together yourself. And if you want an assistant, you press a button and Pratima comes online and she says, no, do it this way. And probably it'll go to a third person for production, because production requires different set of skills and all that. And they can make one of a kind because they have one of those laser cutters, and they are able to put all this together.
Yeah, it's going to be more sensory also. It's like, what mood are you in? So the computer might ask you.
And you can change much more often, perhaps.
Yes.
So I hope it becomes sustainable fashion, but you never know. People still it's a question of people's, as you said, if that concept is still in your head, people still say that, okay, I want a new thing with new colors, all that. The other thing I'd be worried about is, will artisans, craftspeople, and others become further marginalized? That would be, I know that is very dear to your heart, but will they get marginalized? And if so, what is it that we can do to make sure they're up front? One is to organize themselves, organize them also digitally, perhaps. I don't know what that means exactly, so that they are up front. What do you feel?
I think there are two areas. One, I feel we're going to go completely we're really going to ignore that. And the one part is where we're going to really take on, because people are going to get far more sensitive to a lot of issues going on. The fact that, it's a craft, and it's hand done, it's handcrafted, and it's the beauty of handcrafting is that it can be customized in a more beautiful way. Of course, we need time, and people have all the time in the world now. So yes, I think the only way to start is where everybody understands what the industry means. I think the knowledge has to be spread across. It has to be told what the story is, so that more and more people understand. And at least, the best way to start is when you understand, you have the knowledge to understand what it is. And secondly, you land up buying one, so I think that's the only two way to start. And as designers like us, we have the responsibility and the onus to really make designs with the new time that are in. So the designing will also change, keeping in mind handloom and the new mindset. So I think this is as far as I can go. But with the going competition of the machine and technology, it's going to be marginalized. I see that. But yes, I also see a lot of hope where people are trying to reach out to the brands which are working with sustainable sort of practices, and also encompassing a lot of these weavers. So as an Indian, or as India per se, I think we should take on this as a pledge to really make sure that they're here to stay. It's going to be our call. It's going to be a very individual call. I think I can't convince anybody, neither I'm going to tell anybody. I'm just going to show them what it is and educate them about it. And I think rest I will leave it up to an individual to really take on. So of course we're going to have a lot of competition, but I think we have to be prepared for this. So we have to come up with more ideas as to how we can make sure that it stays. And I think when you say the real sense of the word, when you say sustainable, I think this is it. There's no better way to slow down fashion, to make something which is timeless. They're classic. They're here to stay. If we really understand the importance of it. Yeah.
So we should be actually going back, digging into our family heirlooms. And
I think we want to look forward, but we have to understand it's already made for us. We have to think of something else. We don't have to whack our brains for textiles or fashion per se. I think here we are sitting here where clothes are suddenly not important. So
no, but yes, we do need
I
clothes
think
to wear for the weddings and Diwalis and everything.
I think in tomorrow's world, you'll just wear a green shirt and a green trouser, the green screen.
And winter's a beautiful.
And on the screen, you can put, that can become anything. That can become a shirt, a t-shirt, a low neckline if you're meeting someone in a different capacity.
In your wardrobe, there are going to be 5 outfits or 10 outfits to the max.
Just one outfit, one green outfit.
Yes.
Okay, my very important question, which is the students of today. The old system was to sit at the feet of a designer, the old shishya and the master, and you spend your time and you learn pattern grading and cutting and stitching, and you spend time and a lot of time, and then you get a little bit of distillate, and after 10-15 years perhaps you do your own stunts, although I think it's already shortened. Is that the path now, or is it changing where these guys should actually be spending all that time in digitization and learning that ropes over there and not worry about pattern grading and things like that?
I think they need to know it. So
anyway.
First, you have to know what is pattern making. You need to know all this. Once you know it, and then you figure out what you really like in it, and then
you can build on it.
Yeah. For example, somebody loves pattern making. Somebody a lot of people like the marketing side of fashion. Somebody are obsessed with the idea of fashion, so they might just work with the complete marketing group. There are certain students who would love to really illustrate. So illustration is going to be big, and online illustration you can do anyways.
Very possible, yeah.
It's possible. So there are very many aspects within fashion. First of all, you have to know it all. And once you know it all, identify what you like, and in that, try and figure out the digital version of it, because it's going to be big. And in that also, what is that you can contribute? I think if you're not contributing to the industry, if you're just filling in, it's not going to work. You have to have a certain strength which nobody else has. Identify that, and then you are here to stay in this industry. Otherwise, start looking for a replacement, because there are going to be very few jobs here. There are not going to be too many. And there are already so many designers out there who are shutting down and will start looking for new spaces within fashion, you know. So maybe a designer who's just opened maybe 3 years ago has shut down. Now he might just become a consultant or might assist a designer like me to for marketing, you know, because they've already done it all. So they become very handy for us. So that space has already been filled up. These guys even have not entered the industry. So for them, they need to know it all and then start looking for a niche where they can really excel. And I think that's the key.
So no shortcuts, no digital shortcuts.
Digital is going to be big, but within digital also, know what you're going to do and excel in.
From what Pratima just said, I think marketing is also a very important part now. They need to understand the markets and need to start selling. So that's, like you said, it's going to be an aid for you to start selling in, somebody who can understand markets as well. So Mr. Kaul, your subject, marketing.
Yes, I think the marketing is going to be king.
Oh, yes. It already is.
It already is, exactly. You have to know where you're, but it's not the same market as before. It's not as if you're, but the markets have changed. It's sort of social networking, social media, all that. What's happening, whether it's Instagram or somewhere else. Those are the new marketplaces as I see it, and so we need to get a sense of that, and of course leverage that for our own use and all that.
It's already changing in marketing. I think I was just studying, I think the new biggest marketing strategy is storytelling. It was already there, but now
it was already there, but it was very limited. You're right. Now it's
very limited. Now just retelling stories through a digital medium is becoming big. And engagement. I didn't realize every engagement matters a lot. I'm buying everybody's time, something like that. So it's a whole new world. It's a lot of pressure, but it's interesting. It's exciting also. So let's see.
So does it continue to be fun? That's the important thing.
I think we have to look for fun within the space.
Yeah.
It is going to be fun because it's a new world, and I think it's very nice that we are shaken up in a lot of ways. It's a new world. It's a restart from the beginning. I think I'm not going to think the same anymore. I have to reinvent my own ideologies, my own mindset, my own sort of ethos. Everything has to change, and my new marketing plan. And trust me, people have already started going deep into what is the new marketing strategy going to be, and what are the. Oh, it's amazing to see. When I have my marketing team advising me what to write, content writing is big. Just you have somebody making the sort of the some whatever that has to be put on Instagram, and there's one expert just writing what has to be written for the picture. So I was like, wow, yeah, for the post.
In a way, that's part of the garment, isn't it? That's what the garment is. It's not just a physical fabric.
But I need a designer who knows what she's talking about. So to describe the outfit, you can't just have anybody writing. Somebody who's a fashion student will know what to write. And I'm not going to be there all the time to describe every picture, that the cut is this is that, the color combination is this is an ombre. A fashion person will be the right person to be hired for writing my content. So there you go. You already have one job. So there are going to be many such things. The little things now are going to be taken up very seriously within market space. So.
Okay. You want to take any questions from the students?
Kriti, did we have any questions? Kriti is online as well. So Kriti, you'll need to unmute yourself.
Hello, ma'am. Yes, there are a few questions. Somebody is asking, so since we're entering into times like this, fashion business will get the same world. Is it going to be just the same for these people to be entering? How should it be? Like, should they be, having their own labels, or be working with export houses and designers? how should it be?
What is the best strategy right now for students coming out?
Yeah, it's going to be, I think export is going to be hit drastically. So export houses, there are going to be a lot shutting down. And there are a lot coming also. The product might just not be the same. So the export houses that we used to think of making just garments, they might be making medical kits or medical masks or something like that. So yeah, I think you will find your thing within the space. Like, I think we need to identify, like I said, there are a lot of aspects that's going to be within fashion. Like one is marketing, and marketing, then you have production, then you have a designer, then you have all that. But entering with a bang and starting your own label is, trust me, not a good idea for now, because it's going to be difficult for us as designers who've been there for over a decade to survive, let alone anybody else. So entering would not be a good idea with that. But yes, having said that, you have to know what is the missing link, that what are you going to offer. Even if you have to start a brand, you need to come up with something absolutely unique, and also please note, whatever you're going to do is going to be, you have to ask questions like, is it going to leave a carbon footprint? Am I looking at a sustainable angle? Am I, I hope I'm not leaving any carbon footprints. These are questions that as an individual one has to address. And if you can't find an answer, just work under somebody if they're willing to hire you. But at the same time, find your niche. There's so much out there with what one can do within fashion. It's not going to be the same. That's what I can say, because and the more I'm thinking, with so many huge productions going to smaller productions, it's not going to be the same. I think you have to find your niche. You have to know what you are good at, and then explore within that space and start doing it. First know in a college. I think one is in a college, you need to know everything. I think that's brilliant that you're getting the exposure. Maximize the exposure. You have access of information which nobody ever in the world had. You have free webinars out there you have free classes in Harvard. I mean, I just didn't know that I'm going to enroll in one. So Harvard is offering marketing or whatever. I don't know what they're offering. So I want to take up my subject. And so I think knowledge is the key now. Try and know a lot about whatever field you want to go in, and an area, and narrowing it down to a point where it is a complete niche area, so that you become an expert in that area. So expertise is going to take on in a very big way. It's not going to be whiff waff. You know a little bit and you join an industry. I don't think so. It's going to be the same. So over and above that 1 year of college, I think you should spend 1 year of just figuring out what you need to do and what is it that you want. So accessing to as much of information that's around you, and then figuring out what you want to do. It's not easy. It's going to be not easy to make money, and also very easy to make money, provided you know what you want to do. It's a very smart world out there, and it's going to get smarter and really, really tough. So I think if you know what you can offer, it's going to be easy. It's going to be a cakewalk. So
you're saying super specialization is something that these kids need to really look into.
Yeah. It's no more just pattern making. You need to know that really top of the notch pattern making.
Right. Kriti, any other questions?
Yes,
one
ma'am.
person has raised his hand. Manish Ahuja probably needs to ask a question. Manish, you can put your question in the chat so that we can speak it out. In the meantime, Kriti, do you have any other questions?
Yes, ma'am. Since we've talked about sustainability and these eco-friendly stuff also, how will this eco-friendly fabrics and resources fare in the future? And how about the higher cost factor that it comes along with it?
I think with numbers of buying going down, the quality of the product and with a certain extra price tag will take over. So you, instead of buying 100 outfits, you might just buy 4 outfits, which are eco-friendly and are conscious clothing. And at the same time, even if it's a little on the higher side, you don't mind buying it. So I think the patterns will change. I think it's not about the money that's going to be anymore. It's going to be more like everybody is saying that no, people are going to buy, they want cheaper stuff. No, I don't think so. It's going to be that way. It is going to be why, if I have an X amount, where am I spending? People are going to look in that. I want to spend on a sustainable practice. I want to spend on an eco-friendly fabric. So they will get that high when I know that I've done a conscious buying. So it's going to be all about that anymore. I think it's, and you're going to have just, you're not going to buy the way we used to buy, just random lot of stuff. It's not going to be that anymore. So eco-friendly will become very big and conscious.
So more concentration on slow fashion rather than fast fashion. Really.
Yeah.
Thank you so
So I
much.
have a question on that. What will happen to all these people who would not like to ever repeat their outfits once they've posted it on Facebook?
Parties to go, trust me.
Parties to go.
I've got the solution. They buy a green
They won't
shirt.
have parties to go. Social gathering is a big no-no for next, I think, a year. So, and by then, I think we'll be trained not to meet. I don't think so. We'll like socializing after that. So it's
or there can be other things. How about reversible clothing, for instance, because on a screen it's all the same. So if you can reverse your shirt,
you're really going to imagination. Really high.
I'd rather
there's
have
a technical solution to everything.
We can have reversible, because when we do in weaving, there's a technique called the kadwa technique, where the back side of the weaving is also finished. So I can make a t-shirt.
Okay. That's interesting to hear. Yeah.
You can just wear that. So I can make
that
sure that.
Yeah, because if you have one meeting at 7 o'clock, another at 8 o'clock, and you want to look different.
Inside out. Yeah. That's a brilliant idea. Yeah, why not?
Pratima.
I think one more question. I think we have a couple of questions coming up from students. How can you judge your own creativity and compare yourself with others?
You don't.
How can I judge? Earlier we had a lot of platforms to judge, but now I think we're in a different world.
How many thumbs up you get?
Yeah, I think how many
thumbs up you get on Facebook?
No, for me it's the sales. How many outfits I sell in a particular style. For me, that's the biggest way of saying that what you've designed makes sense to us. So that's the best way to judge. And you have to know the feel. First of all, what is fashion? I'm designing not for myself. I'm designing for everybody out there. And I'm going to look at what you're going to wear 6 months from now. I know it. So when I design with that mindset, I have to solve your problem. So people out there, what they want to wear. So it's no more about me, myself, and what of course, with a certain thought process, I'm guiding you guys to really start wearing. Like, I always believed in sustainable clothing, and I was maneuvering or maybe channelizing and your thought process to start buying and wearing that. So that was what I believed in, and at the same time offering you guys, if you still didn't like the design, it's like you failed as a designer. But when you start seeing sales going up, that that you've understood what the time needs, because every time is different. So this time a certain individuals will be buying this kind of a clothing. So that's the designer's job to know. So yeah, I think the point is that you have to know what you're doing. Simple as that.
And I think some of them are worried looking at the scenario, whether it's the right decision to get into fashion, taking up fashion designing as a career. They want to know that what will be the future of a freelance designer, because I'm sure there are going to be shortage of jobs out there. So working as a freelance designer, is there more scope there?
I feel, see, when you know designing, it's a very beautiful tool you already have. As you've already come into a world which is very creative. You know, it's just that you don't have to now look at clothing to give vent to your creativity. That's the only new mindset one has to look at. You cannot be hellbent jo humne dekha tha, years ago, fashion shows and models, and a lot of models are also going to go out of jobs. We don't need models anymore. I don't think so, except for certain photo shoots. I don't think so. We're going to have ramp shows anymore. So I'm sure the models will also now start looking at different fields that they're going to be working in. But at the same time, as fashion students, you are already creative. You can use your creativity for completely different things, and there are many areas where clothing to rahega. You have to know it's here to stay. You are going to need clothing. Like medical clothing will become very big soon. So medical solutions for designing will be very big. So they might hire designers to become as researchers for a medical world. So because you understand clothes, and you might be working in collaboration with a doctor to guide you to what, because he might just say, like, I designed for the Indian Air Force. So my basic idea that the lady pilot told me that what I need to take out that jumpsuit in 6 seconds. You design keeping that in mind. So that was the brief given to me, and I was like, 6 seconds, that's all you have? They said yes. Now you design. So we design. I was designing, asking them questions. So it was far more sort of research oriented. It took me almost a year to design the Indian Air Force uniform. The pilots, the women pilots are wearing, and they're still wearing that outfit right now. So that brief, what makes you a good designer is you're not just designing for the masses. You are designing for different areas also. So you can do that. I've done many such ideas, things. So I think just don't be so narrow on your thought process. Just broaden your horizon. There are many things out there, and trust me, there are going to be many new things that will come out of this year. I think by the end of the year, we'll have many jobs waiting out there to be taking in students like you. So I don't think so. You need to worry on that. Just keep your knowledge high. That's all. Ask too many questions.
Yeah, they need to ask more questions, and they also need to challenge themselves. And I think as far as, trying to connect with the students as an education institute, I think they should start challenging the faculties also. So, it's both ways around.
I think, again, when I'm saying sustainable and slow, we need to go slow on things also. Challenge may be slow, Jao, because, it should be more of, not challenge. I think it should be more to do with curiosity. I need to know. I am in a problem where I don't know what's my future looking like. Start studying, start figuring out, start questioning, start asking for help if need be. Trust me, in a digital world, I would have never called up, for example, Mr. Call and just say, sir, just answer this question for me. Now it's so easy, it's so possible to just call up anybody, reach out for whatever question you have in mind, and there will be an answer reaching out back to you. So I think it's up to every individual. I don't think so. There's nothing to worry. If you think you're curious and you're here to stay, that's it.
Okay, one of our student, Zaid, wants to ask, do you think that streetwear brands are going to take a big decline in the future? And I think same goes for Indian ethnic wear.
Indian ethnic wear, I don't think so will go anywhere, because we still have Holi Diwalis, and we still have, we're really big on our own festivals. For at least a limited time, it's going to be there. Sportswear, it's going to be big again, but not so big the way, the fact of the matter is, when most of the companies are looking at huge inventories, huge. So I think next 2 years is just going to be giving away the inventories, and those 2 years they're going to reinvent what they've been doing all this while. So I think 2 years later it's not going to be the same. Sports, I think because we're going to be sitting in too much in front of the screens, sports will take over also. Like in New Zealand, I had gone to New Zealand, and there I was asking, why suddenly people have made sports the most important thing. He said, why? Because the government took a very conscious decision that 4 o'clock everybody should be out of the house or out of their workplaces or whatever. Why? Because we want you to go and exercise. So 5 to 8 was an exercise time for the whole country, because their biggest depression, they were not fighting finances or whatever, they were fighting depression. So, thus sports became so big there. So, there was a problem and they solved it through this. And I think with so many people spending time in front of the screens, the next thing would be to go out and run. And I think marathons and all these things should take over after a point, So Mr. Kaul is very happy. I can see it. So
I know, right? The big smile that he has. Because even in the lockdown, he's been running. Even if it's in his complex, he's been running.
No, he could. So he was lucky.
I know. Good.
I hope that answers.
That's pretty much it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
That's pretty much it.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow. Thank you for having me. It was really nice. It was fun. I hope it was stimulus enough for everyone to get their answers.
It was very nice, and it was very informative, of course. And thank you very much for taking so much time out. And
Pleasure.
For everybody who's there right now on this thing, I was told by Mr. Kaul that Pratima has this beautiful place where she has her store. And I think we should
next
go
to the
there.
Garden of 5 Senses.
Yeah, so it's a beautiful place, so we should definitely go and check that out.
Yeah.
So thank you very much. Post-lockdown, yes. Thank you very much, and thank you, Mr. Kaul, also.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Really nice being here. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you for Pratima for taking your time out.
No, thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.